Uplanders, we are so excited to announce our next sustainability initiative that we've been working on for the past couple months. Last June, following the carbon offset of the entire EOS blockchain that Upland led, our community came together to raise over $6,000 to support our carbon offset efforts. Individual donations were made in exchange for a sustainability badge that appears on in-game profiles. The UpX podcast additionally contributed all proceeds from a special anniversary Block Explorer sale to the funds raised. Upland matched every dollar raised, and the entire sum was used to fund an offset of our entire Amazon Web Services cloud infrastructure usage. This covers all of the server use that keeps Upland running every day. This means that the entire carbon legacy of our cloud usage has been offset, and that's a big deal. But what does that mean, and why is it so important? Well, to find out, I sat down and spoke with Hans Junginger-Gestrich, the CEO of our carbon removal partner, Carbonfuture. All right, Hannes, hey, thank you very much for joining me today and just taking a minute to explain a little bit about Carbonfuture and our partnership with Carbonfuture. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me, and let's go ahead.
So the first question I have for you is just a little bit about Carbonfuture's mission. What is it, and what differentiates it from other carbon removal services in the space?
Yeah, at Carbonfuture, we have the mission to draw as much carbon down from the atmosphere as possible and safely store it. So, and we're doing this as a platform, and we want to enable people and organizations to engage in that mission. So the key differentiator here from a high-level perspective is the platform approach. So it's really an inclusive approach to having all stakeholders on board, meeting at our platform, engaging here, documenting and making auditable the services they provide for climate protection, and in doing so, making it accessible for financing this climate action based on proper third-party auditing and verification.
Can you tell me more about the AWS offset with Upland and elaborate more on the science behind it?
Yeah, thanks. Excellent question. So it's a bit, as said before, our focus is very much the supply side, but of course, companies like Upland that looking into credible climate action projects, they always start with the question, what is it? How much is it that I need to compensate? How big are our emissions? And that is a completely different task to solve. And here we, together with Upland, worked on calculating the emissions caused by the cloud services used by Upland. With Upland, we looked at all available data, which server types were used, and then used specific server energy consumptions and the respective electricity parameters and the footprint, how much carbon is emitted due to the respective electricity consumption, and did the calculation on that basis.
Very cool. So what's the impact of this offset going to be in the real world, and is that impact trackable?
Yeah, thanks for the question. Looking again at the supply side here, right? What do we do with the money? So Upland put down for compensating the emissions, and also, by the way, the historic emissions of AWS were included, or not of AWS, of Upland's AWS usage, right? With this money, we are subsidizing biochar production and application in agriculture. And this is, from a larger scale perspective, the goal here is to grow the carbon preserving application of certified biochar. And of course, in order to grow this business, you really have to make sure that the money is allocated to true and actual actions on the ground that really have happened. And that is one key element of what we do at Carbonfuture. We track the chain of custody of certified biochar from production to end use, through trading, through product conditioning until it is applied on the field, and it is quite on a quite granular basis. It's traceable.
Last question here for you. What does it mean that Upland's AWS usage is now at historic zero?
Yeah, I mean, typically you compensate on an annual basis. So you look 1 year in the past, and you have your accounts and calculate the dollar amounts that went into the specific services and goods you consumed, and calculate your emissions. And that is nice. Then if in the best case you're at a net zero for the respective year. The climate crisis wouldn't be as acute as it is if we only had emissions of 1 year. So we really, as a society, as companies, have to look back further and see what we emitted also in previous years. And Upland, as a very young company, obviously. It was first quite easy for Upland to do this, but leading by example, we looked together with Upland at the entire historic emissions related to AWS services and compensated that. So we really took a conservative approach here. We included risk buffers here. You can really be sure that all the tons that were emitted in the history of Upland related to the AWS services have been compensated, drawn down from the atmosphere, and stored permanently.
Well, it feels good to be at historic zero and be a part of Upland. So appreciate that.
Excellent.
Hannes, that does us for questions today. I'll let you have the last word. Anything that you'd like to say to our community or our audience?
Yeah, I mean, thanks for the opportunity. I mean, it's great that Upland is leading the path here to net zero. Think about net zero in a longer term perspective. Think of a net zero 21st century and like engage in climate action and help us keeping the planet a place as we want to have it.
What an awesome interview and a great partner to have for Upland. But what's even more exciting is that Upland is only getting started when it comes to addressing our carbon footprint. This is why we're proud to announce that in the near future, Upland will be a carbon negative company. That's a big deal. We'll have more exciting news to share about this soon, so stay tuned. Thank you all for helping us. Thank you for being a part of Upland and for helping us to rebuild the world in a sustainable way.